If you have a nice set of knives, do you want to take a risk using a cheap knife sharpener, or should you buy a much more expensive knife sharpener? I had a lot of viewers tell me that this $9 knife sharpener would actually outperform this $900 knife sharpener. I'm not sure if it will, but we're about to find out, and we're going to be testing several other high-quality knife sharpeners as well. So let's get the testing underway and see which one is the best. For the knife sharpness testing, I'll be using these 8-inch high-carbon stainless steel chef's knives. Near the end of this video, we'll see if one of the knife sharpeners can make a butter knife razor sharp. To measure the sharpness, I'll be using this best certified sharpness tester. The way this works is I'll be using these test clips. There's a piece of test media running from the left to the right side of the test clip. As the knife edge is pushing downward, the scale measures the downward force in grams applied to cut through the test media. So a double-edge razor blade is around a 50, a utility blade is anywhere from around 150 to 200, a new high-end cutlery edge is anywhere from 250 to 350. Edges that need maintenance are around 400. A butter knife is around 2,000. Before dulling the knife blades, let's first take a look at the blade condition under a microscope and then measure the blade sharpness. Before we dull this blade, let's go ahead and get our baseline sharpness. Wow, 145. That's as sharp as a razor blade. So the knife sharpener says this thing is sharp. Let's test it out and see how sharp it is. Yeah, that's pretty sharp. In order to dull the knives in a standardized process, I put together this test rig. The way this works is the platform remains in a stationary position while the rest of the device is going to slide backwards. As the knife is sliding backwards, it's going to go over top of an object that's going to cause the blade to dull. All of the knives are going to be sliding across this aluminum pipe 5 times in order to dull the blades. I'll be applying 2.5 pounds on top of the knife. The aluminum pipe did a lot of damage to the knife edge, and this is really going to put each sharpening system to the test. The knives all started off at 145 extremely sharp, so let's see what kind of damage we did to the blade. Okay, 1,825. 2,000 is a butter knife, so this is a very dull blade, definitely in need of a lot of maintenance. The least expensive knife sharpener we'll be testing at only $8.65 is this Rada knife sharpener, which is made in the USA. Reinforced with non-slip base for extra durability. Rivet wheel assembly provides perfect tolerance and flex between sharpener wheels for optimal sharpening performance. I'm going to use a permanent marker on each of the blades so we can see how effective each sharpener is at sharpening the knives. Instructions are very simple. Simply place the knife blade between the 2 sharpening wheels and, using light pressure, pull through at a slight upward angle. Repeat several times. You can tell there's a lot of damage to this knife edge because of all the shavings taken off by this Rada knife sharpener. At $12.44 is this Fiskars Essential Roll Sharp Knife Sharpener. Quality since 1649. Designed by Fiskars, made in Finland. The most important part of the Fiskars Roll Sharp is the patented rotating wheel made of a special ceramic material which grinds away any dents or burrs from the edge of your knife, producing a safe, sharp edge. So why spend a bunch of money on a knife sharpener when you can just buy a Whetstone for about $16.28? We'll start with the 400 grit and then use the 1000. We'll first add a little water to the stone. Getting good results with the Whetstone is likely to vary based upon experience and skill level of the person using the sharpening system. While I have quite a bit of experience using abrasives, I'm not experienced using a Whetstone for sharpening knives. Many knife sharpeners leave a burr on the edge of the blade. Use of a stropping leather and rubbing compound removes the burr and cleans up the freshly sharpened edge. I applied a total of 10 strokes to each side to remove the burr for each one of the sharpeners designed to benefit from stropping. At $67.44 is this Lansky brand sharpener. Controlled angle sharpening system. Deluxe diamond. Made in USA. Knife clamp with angle sensor. 4 guide rods. 4 sharpening stones. Attaching knife blade. Loosen the front screw 4 full turns with a dimer screwdriver. Using fingers only, tighten rear thumb screw all the way and then loosen 2 full turns. Place knife in jaws of clamp. Pinch jaws of clamp with your hand while tightening the front screw. Fully tighten rear thumb screw to lock knife in place. Assembling the hone. Place the hone stone side down on a flat surface. Unscrew wing screw and feed guide rod from bottom up. Make sure hone and rod are flush with flat surface. Using finger pressure only, tighten screw on the hone holder to hold rod securely. Check straightness and alignment with the hone against a flat surface. Be sure rod and honing stone touch the flat surface along the entire length. If rod is not level with stone, bend it into alignment using light finger pressure. With the Lansky, you can choose 17, 20, 25, and 30 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and choose 17 degrees. Beginning with the coarse stone, insert guide rod into an angle hole you have selected. Start at the knife's base near the guard and place the hone against the edge. Push the hone against the edge into the blade while moving the hone towards the the tip of the blade, covering a 2-inch section of blade per stroke. Sharpen one side first, then flip entire clamp over and sharpen the opposite side using the same number of strokes on each side. Costing $73.50 is this Spyderco Triangle SharpMaker. USA made. Instructional CD. Instructions: 2 fine and 2 medium sharpening stones. 2 safety rods. The Spyderco has 2 different angles from which to choose, 30 degrees and 40 degrees. I'm going to sharpen using 30 degrees. Step 1 is shaping. Use the corner of the gray stone to shape an edge or set a bevel as it cuts the fastest. When sharpening, press hard enough to remove metal. Always keep the knife blade straight up and down. Always sharpen the entire blade from heel to tip, drawing the blade towards you as you slice down stone. For each step, give 20 strokes on each side, alternating strokes between right and left stones for a total of 40 strokes. Step 2 is utility. Use the flat stone of the gray stone to produce a utility edge. Step 3 is honing. Use the corner of the white stone to produce a very sharp edge. Step 4 is razor. Use the flat surface of the white stone to produce a razor edge as it's very fine. Costing $112.45 is this Chef's Choice Trizor Edge Model 15. Assembled in USA. Stage 1. Turn on the power and pull the length of the blade through the left slot and then through the right slot, using the left and right slots on alternate pulls. Take about 3 to 4 seconds of each pull for a 5-inch blade. The first time you sharpen a European or an American knife, it may take up to 20 pair of pulls to fully re-angle the edge of a thin blade. Thicker blades will require more pulls. Honing in Stage 2. Make about 1 or 2 pairs of pulls through Stage 2, alternating each in the left and the right slots. Take about 3 seconds for each pull on a 5-inch long blade. Check for a burr before proceeding to Stage 3. Stropping edge in Stage 3. Pull the blade through the left slot of Stage 3 and then through the right slot of Stage 3. Make 3 pairs of pulls, alternating the pull in each of the left and the right slots. You should take about 3 to 4 seconds for each pull for a 5-inch long blade. Then make 2 pairs of alternating faster pulls in this stage, about 1 second per pull for a 5-inch blade to put a final polish on the edge. Costing $255 is this Edge Pro Apex 4, made in the USA. This is the body of the sharpener. 120, 220, 400, 600, 1000 grit sharpening stones. 2000 and 3000 grit polish tapes. Setup instructions. Stick the suction cups down dry onto a smooth, non-porous surface. Remove stone arm from case and remove the rubber band. Rotate pivot so that pivot shaft is on your right. Insert pivot shaft into the back of the apex with the indicator marks facing you. To set the angles, line the top of the pivot with the arm of the indicator mark. Place pivot lock knob in the center of its slot and tighten. 220 grit, this is a stone you will start with on most dull knives. Changing stones. The stone is held in place by the tension of the spring. Put the knob in the palm of your hand. Wrap your index and middle finger around the back of the large holder with one finger on each side of the steel rod. Squeeze to compress the spring and the stone will release. Since we're using Japanese cooking knives, we're going to sharpen to 18 degrees. With this sharpener, you can sharpen at 10, 15, 18, 21, or 24 degrees. Put enough water on the stone to cover the surface and let it sink in. Step 2. Flexible blade. Position the blade on the blade table with the knife handle near the blade table and the edge parallel to the front of the knife guide. 3. Stiff blade. Center the knife across the blade table. Place the stone on the edge of the knife. Pull the knob all the way around towards you and slide the stone over the heel of the blade. Step 4. The stroke. Push the stone arm forward and at the same time let it slide to the opposite side of the blade table and make about a 2-inch wide cut with each stroke. Pull the stone arm back to the starting position along the same path. Apply just enough pressure to get the stone to cut. Most of the sharpening is done during the push stroke. Don't pick the stone up on the pull stroke, just let it slide on the edge. Make smooth, long, slow strokes so you can just bump the stops gently. Hold the knob loose in your hand so it is free to follow the shape of the knife blade. Draw the blade across the blade table. Make 3 or 4 push and pull strokes starting at the heel of the knife. Stop sharpening, move the knife 1 inch, make 3 or 4 strokes. Continue this manner until you reach the tip of the blade. Step 6. Switch the knife and the stone arm to the opposite hands and repeat the process on the opposite side of the blade. Step 8. Bring the edge to a burr. Continue making equal passes down the side of the blade. Check the knife for a burr each time you switch sides. Step 10 is remove the burr. 400 grit. Use this stone to start sharpening knives that are in pretty good shape. 600 grit. This can be your finished stone on most kitchen knives. 1000 grit. Also a finished stone for kitchen knives and the next step towards polish. 2000 and 3000 polish tapes, used to finish the edge of all sporting and pocket knives and Japanese cooking knives. This is the strongest and the longest lasting edge you can put on a knife. Costing $900 is this Wicked Edge Gen 3 Pro. You can easily adjust the angle by moving this lever. We're going to be sharpening to 17 degrees. Step 1. Attach your guide rods to the ball joints by threading them into the rod ends. Step 2. Attach the number 4 vise lever to the sharpener by sliding the square hole on the vise lever block onto the square camshaft, which is located towards the bottom of number 1 vise. When attached, the lever should be to the right of number 1 vise. Step 3. Place your sharpening stones onto the number 9 shelves for easy access while sharpening. Mounting your knife. Attach the number 10 alignment guide to the number 3 depth key and insert the 2 prongs of the depth key into one of the 2 number 2 depth settings located at the top of the vise. While firmly holding the knife with one hand, lift the vise lever up into its resting position. The vise level should now be vertical, parallel to the vise. Push the vise lever all the way down to the right side of the sharpener. Mark the entire bevel of the knife on both sides with a marker. Slide the 100-200 grit diamond stone handles onto the guide rods. Place the top of the red 100 coarse grit stone flat against the heel of the knife. Grasp the handles with your fingers on the indentations, being careful to keep your fingertips behind the guards that the stones are mounted to, creating and detecting a burr. When you are first sharpening a blade, successfully drawing a burr from each side of the knife is the most important step. Do approximately 10 strokes on one side of your knife only and then check the opposite side for a burr. Once you've successfully created and detected a burr on one side of the knife, repeat this procedure for the other side. Use alternating side-to-side strokes so both sides of the knife are sharpened at the same time. Sharpen until the marker is completely removed from the bevels. Progressing through your stones. Once you've successfully created and detected a burr from both sides of the blade, sharpen your knife using alternating side-by-side strokes. Progress through your abrasives until you achieve the level of polish desired. Before we test the sharpness of the Rada, let's take a close look at the sharpened blade. The Rada appears to have gone to work on about 20% of the originally ground knife edge. All the knives started off at 145 and were really dulled quite a bit, so we're going to see how well these knife sharpeners performed. Starting with the Rada. While the knife started out at 145, then dulled to over 1800, the Rada brought back the knife edge to 230. 230 is considered very sharp for a kitchen knife according to our sharpness chart. Just like the Rada, the Fiskars did a good job cleaning up and straightening the edge of the knife. It went to work on about 20% of the original blade edge. Testing the Fiskars. 230, equally sharp, very impressive. The marker really helped me figure out the correct angle for sharpening with the whetstone, and it looks terrific, but is it sharp? We'll see how well I did with the whetstone. I am not an experienced whetstone user, so this will be very interesting. Whoa, 120! That's actually sharper now than when we started. Unbelievable! The Lansky did a terrific job cleaning up the damaged blade and putting a beautiful edge on the knife. Whoa, 110! That's amazing! 110 is the number to beat. The Spyderco edge looks pretty sharp and seems to be very close to the original angle. 170! That's still very impressive. The blade edge made by the Chef Choice looks very good. 190. Very good, but definitely not the best. The Edge Pro Apex 4 blade edge looks really sharp. 170. Very impressive. The Wicked Edge name definitely seems to fit this sharpener, but is the blade as sharp as it looks? Whoa, 100! Unbelievable! This thing's scary sharp. Let's see how sharp this thing is as far as shaving hair. Wow, check that out. This thing is razor sharp. The $900 Wicked Edge came out on top, but not by much, as the very affordable $67 Lansky came in second and the Whetstone third. Chef's knives are oftentimes used on cutting boards, so what we're going to do is simulate using this chef's knife on this cutting board, which is a piece of ironwood. Now, ironwood is a very tough piece of wood, and this is going to really put each of the blades to the test. And what we're trying to determine is whether or not certain types of knife sharpeners create a more durable edge than others. So we're going to begin with the Rada and work our way through all the different knives. I'm going to make 30 back and forth passes across the ironwood. The Rada started off at 230 and is now at 290, still very sharp. The Fiskars actually did slightly better at retaining its edge at 280. The Whetstone started out at 120 and did a great job retaining its edge at 150. The Lansky started out at 110 and remained very sharp at 185. The Spyderco started out at 170 and really seemed to struggle at over 500. The Chef's Choice started out at 190 and did a great job at 225. The Edge Pro started out at 170 and did very well at 220. The Wicked Edge started out the sharpest at 100 and it remained the sharpest at 140. Extremely sharp knives are usually more at a risk for blade edge roll and dulling, but the Wicked Edge remained the sharpest after 30 back and forth passes on the ironwood. The Whetstone held up extremely well, finishing in a close second and the Lansky third. While the rest of the brands didn't return knives to their original level of sharpness, some of them came very close. While the Spyderco did a good job sharpening the blade edge, the use of the sharpening rods instead of sharpening stones seemed to cause an issue with regard to blade edge fatigue. However, this could be my fault and not the sharpening system. In the previous video on knife sharpeners, a lot of viewers suggested that a low quality knife blade is just not capable of being very sharp. This knife has already been dulled. Let's see how dull it is, and then we'll see if we can bring it back with the Wicked Edge, since the Wicked Edge won this showdown as far as original sharpness. Okay, 1390. This thing definitely needs a lot of maintenance. The cheap steak knife blade edge looks really good, but is it sharp? Let's see how well the Wicked Edge Pro did on this very cheap steak knife. 85. Wow, this thing is extremely sharp. Since a butter knife is extremely blunt, I'm going to use the Chef's Choice, which did fairly well in the showdown at 190 sharpness, to see what it can do with this butter knife. It took around 30 minutes to put an edge on this butter knife, but the Chef's Choice sharpener held up well. And the butter knife blade looks great, but is it sharp? Let's see how the Chef's Choice did with this butter knife. Wow, that's pretty sharp for a butter knife. I'm impressed. All right, let's see how our butter knife is doing. 160. Wow, this thing's incredibly sharp. For a $9 knife sharpener, the Rada actually didn't do too bad. The Wicked Edge did a fantastic job, but $900 is a lot to spend, and if you're not up for spending $900 and you want some type of stone sharpener or diamond sharpener, in my opinion, the Lansky is a very good value and definitely my choice. All my video ideas, including this one, come from viewers, so I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. I reply to as many comments as possible. Just want to say thanks so much for watching the video. Please take care and look forward to next time.